All right, guys. Unfortunately, we have some more potential bad news to talk about today. I know I got a comment earlier that was like, "Is there ever any good news to talk about?" Because I know we've talked recently about, Spica not being able to boot camp with TSM in Korea. We've talked about Fudge not being able to boot camp with Cloud9 in Korea. We've talked about Cloud9 potentially not having their full starting lineup for the start of the lock-in tournament if like Summit and Berserker are having visa issues because of Omicron and all this other stuff. And I get it. There has been a ton of bad news, but also it depends, what perspective you're looking at it from. Yeah, it's bad news for TSM or bad news for Cloud9, but at the same time, maybe that's good news for Evil Geniuses, or good news for TL, or good news from 100 Thieves. So it just depends which way you spin it. Today we're talking about some potential trouble for TSM, and I don't know. I woke up not feeling great today. Honestly, I have not left my room except to get food. Just felt very, very sick, but we still have content and stuff to make. But my day has consisted of eating snacks and drinks and playing video games all day. So just kind of giving you guys an update of where I'm at. But make sure you drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out the merch. First link in the description below. New little collection or line that we dropped recently. Help support the content in the channel. With that being said, let's get right into this. Like I said, there has been a ton of visa issues and stuff going on. All the other different things, all the stories we've already covered. It does seem like a lot of bad news. And today I wanted to talk about TSM, obviously. When I was talking about the Cloud9 stuff, we heard from LS that he potentially doesn't expect Cloud9 to have their full starting roster for the lock-in tournament because of visa issues with the Korean players being able to come into the United States in time. And again, he was saying that, January 1st, December 31st, we're less than 2 weeks away from the start of lock-in tournament at this point. That is not a lot of time for things to change, for things to get better. The COVID situation, as far as like the fast spreading breakout cases of diseases, whatever, travel restrictions, lockdowns, all that stuff, it's not getting better. We're kind of staying flat, maybe trending down a little bit. I don't know exactly for sure where the up-to-date, news and information is at. And also, I only have the United States perspective. I don't know, is it worse in Korea? Is it worse in China? Wherever, whatever. But I have now, gotten the update from that, heard from people, sources that I have that, it's not looking great for Cloud9. That, they are kind of expecting to not have that full starting lineup for the start of lock-in, and that they know that the visa process, which is already a mess, 2019, pre-COVID times, was already a mess. It was already crazy. It was already really, really tough to handle. Fast forward to COVID times, early 2020 onwards, became an even bigger mess, and then especially right now it's becoming even a bigger level of challenge and frustrations and just delays. So I did go as far as to tweet out that I would not be surprised if this then Cloud9 confirmed to be having some of these issues. It would not be a stretch to me to then think that TSM is also having some of these same issues. Obviously, trying to bring two new faces that have not been previously in the United States, have not previously had these working visas, have not previously come to Los Angeles or, again, the United States to work and play and stuff. I would not be surprised at all if they are having issues. Now, obviously, Cloud9's players are coming from Korea. We're talking about Summit, Berserker, and TSM's are coming from China. So we could be on two different timelines. It could be two different situations and scenarios, but there is absolutely a world where TSM will also not have their full starting lineup for the start of lock-in tournament along with Cloud9. And to me, this is concerning in a lot of different ways. One, to me, it's concerning overall for the LCS. Last year, we saw a big boost in viewership for the LCS for the lock-in tournament. One, it was the first ever lock-in tournament. Two, we had a lot of new big name faces. We had Alfari coming over. We had Perks coming over. People wanted to see what these teams were like, what these players were going to be like. Also, it's a tournament format. People really, really hate Spring Split, especially Spring Split regular season. Best of ones are kind of cool at the beginning, again, when you're seeing all the new teams and faces, but just understanding how low stakes Spring Split is, how most regular season matches don't really matter at all. There's like 3 or 4 teams in the LCS that people care about. There's not many people tuning into, an Immortals Dignitas best of 1 with 9th place on the line. But all of a sudden you make that an Immortals Dignitas best of 5, or something, or a group stage match where they could potentially, eliminate themselves or something. It gets a lot more interesting. You raise the stakes. It's exciting. People like seeing tournament formats. And again, it came at a time where the LCS viewership has been dropping over the past couple of years. LCS broadcast quality has gone way down. The analyst desk, less exciting, less interesting. People care less. We lost some of our favorite faces over the last couple of years in terms of guys like Doublelift and Bjergsen, now with obviously Bjergsen being back. So I am worried a little bit about this LCS viewership. I went as far as to tweet something like this out. Hope y'all are ready for LCS Lock-In 2 Academy Edition. And this would not be totally unprecedented if, TSM does end up playing with their Academy team, or if Cloud9 does end up playing with their Academy team, because this is something we see in like the Demacia Cup and the Kespa Cup, obviously the Chinese and Korean variants of the Lock-In tournament, that a lot of times people do play with their Academy teams or play with some subs, or they give younger players an opportunity or whatever, because it is a preseason tournament that doesn't really matter. But understand that League of Legends is flourishing and thriving over in Korea and China. And these are players and teams that are better at developing their own players. They're also not super concerned about viewership and stuff because, to my knowledge, everything's going pretty well over there. But if the LCS and their sponsors and their players and their teams all miss out on this big chunk of viewership because, watching TSM Academy play the Lock-In tournament, or watching Cloud9 Academy play the Lock-In tournament, isn't as exciting as getting to watch, Fudge mid lane in his first game, or getting to watch TSM's new Chinese players or whatever. And, for the Cloud9 side, you might still get to see Blabber. You might still get to see, whatever players they end up rolling with. They might have some of these guys coming over and playing, some of them not. But on the TSM side, what I actually think might happen is the entire TSM team might stay over in the East and not play in the Lock-In tournament at all, except obviously Spica's in the United States. So it's possible we could see Spica jungling for TSM with 4 of their Academy players around him. It's also possible that they just decide to sit Spica out and let the whole Academy team play so they can practice and gain synergy together and all that stuff. And I think this because TSM already talked previously, before we even knew about these visa issues. I don't know how long teams or whatever have known about potential visa issues, but before I had even known about this and a lot of other people had known about this, TSM was already considering not going to the Lock-In tournament. They had already talked about how they find a lot of value in their Eastern boot camps, and that the Lock-In tournament at the end of the day, it would be fun, it would be cool, but it doesn't really matter. So I think they are probably, and then, you throw the visa issues on top of that, that's just another thing in favor of staying over there. I think they're probably leaning towards staying over, in either China, Korea, wherever, until the visa issues get sorted out. Now, obviously, where things get a little complicated for both Cloud9 and TSM is this going to carry over into the spring split? Obviously, the Lock-In tournament's a couple weeks long. That gives us an extended timeline to figure some of these things out, but it is absolutely possible, at least to my knowledge, that these things continue to spill over, and then we're really talking about some issues. Cloud9, TSM, they're teams that have high hopes, high aspirations. They're teams with big fan bases who have high expectations. These teams want to go to MSI. These players want to go to MSI. They want, as much time as possible to practice and scrim together and play on stage and play these regular season games, and get a good playoff seed and be able to make a good run. Teams and players already complain about not getting to play enough games in the LCS and LEC already when you look at, Chinese and Korean counterparts. So getting to play even less games together, having less practice time together, having another frustrating, annoying situation to deal with could be really, really rough. So just wanted to give you guys an update on the whole situation. Again, with Cloud9 and TSM, I'm not sure if they're going to be fielding part of their main roster, part of their Academy roster, if they're going to find out it's better to just field their entire Academy rosters or whatever, but it is looking more and more like when Lock-In tournament starts, both Cloud9 and TSM, again, nothing's official yet, but just a hunch that I have that neither one of these teams will be fielding their entire starting roster, if not any pieces of their starting roster, which, again, does kind of kill the hype, and I would not be surprised at all if it kills, some viewership and excitement a little bit. But I'm still excited. I still think Lock-In tournament's going to be fun. It just could be, more fun, potentially. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think TSM and Cloud9 are going to do or should do about this whole mess? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out the first link in the description below for that merch. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.